Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? You two can hear me because you're here, but you over there on the live stream in the chat, the people who are watching us right now, who are watching the Dinos Games live stream, I hope everybody can hear me. We are here because today is a very special day for Way of Hunter 2, the video game, the hunting simulator, because we have actually released the very first major content update today, actually 2 hours ago. So we are going to be live streaming today, of course, and we are going to show you all of the features, all of the maybe some of the fixes, because there has been like hundreds of fixes actually in this one. If you have seen the patch notes, you were probably as surprised as us, like how many or how much stuff actually made it into a game. But first, since we already started, we have to introduce ourselves. My name is Jozef, and I'm a marketing manager here at Dinox Games. And today with me is of course Miro, who was you were actually pretty popular member of our trio in the first dev stream. You're a QA tester, QA engineer, and you will be playing the game today.
Hello.
Brief, very brief. That's that's nice. So Miro is here, and today we also have a third guest. Michal has been, he's just working on the game. So Anton, our game designer, he actually joined us today. So Anton, welcome here.
Nice to be here. Hi, everybody. And well, let's see what the first major update to Way of the Hunter 2 brings to us.
Yes, it was pretty epic, like cinematic actually. Like,
Sure.
so Anton, Miro, welcome here. So we are going to be playing here, playing with the two, with already the major update number one installed. So all of the features will be there. We will be running through the features, and yeah, and there has been a lot of fixes. I think like one of the most requested fixes in the past month actually, since the game has been out. You can actually watch or like read the patch notes. There's a plenty of stuff there. There's performance issues being addressed, but also the freezing animals should supposed to be fixed by now. So the freezing animals should be done. This bug is hopefully behind our heads, but of course that always could be issues with animals. Like running into some kind of a geometry and everything. So this is confirmed. Hopefully this is fixed. And today we are actually targeting like 40-45 minutes, maybe an hour of a stream. So keep your questions coming. I already saw one question. If it was this is really cute. Like, is Miriam not allowed to do live streams? Of course she is allowed, but especially today she has a lot of work with the update itself. Replying to all of the players, all of the issues that maybe come up with the update. But in the future, you will have to like this kind of questions actually are giving her the message that she should definitely come. So hopefully in the future we're going to see Miriam on the stream as well, and
Or do a solo stream. I think
just
our player base will really enjoy that.
yeah. Okay, so Anton, could you explain the night hunting maybe to the players? Like if it's even possible, hasn't been possible before, because I know that in the first game there has been night vision goggles, but like night vision scopes. But in the second game we actually introduced the thermals as well. So maybe give a little brief about this.
Thanks to this addition, you will still have an easier time spotting animals, and maybe, just maybe, you will place your shots nicely. So let's see, for example, here in the starting area, I think lots of you have already studied it, and you know that those mule deers are right there waiting for you, usually with really relatively poor genetics. Um, at first, but I hope you're managing your herds well, and eventually they grow. Though, to be specific, something that is special about, in a bad way, special about this introductory area of the game is that most animals actually have this cap that they can't go beyond. So no matter how much you manage those initial mule deer herds that are located right by your lodge, they will not grow beyond a certain level. So what do? You you explore the map further. You go above and beyond and look for other lands. And in those lands, you will be able not only find those better herds with better potential, but also help enhance them with habitat enhancements and with recovery of those lands from pollution. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself because, of course, I want to talk about my favorite feature. so far, let's focus on night hunting. It's relatively, I think we will need some iteration to nail this part of the game, but when it comes to how you spot the animals that are right outside and how you shoot, I think at least now it is in a playable enough state and it can actually work because before, well, it wasn't possible, and in the first game it wasn't possible for like most of its lifespan until we released that DLC pack. Um, so we're looking forward to your feedback to see how it changes the game for you. I also noticed that some of you use those thermal scopes during um, the day, like during the day, which is interesting because it is sort of cheating, and but it does help some of you spot animals around you. So who am I to judge? Who am I to judge?
But yeah, I mean, it's a really nice feature because like suddenly the night itself gains depth. You can actually properly hunt during this period of day, and yeah, and also it's it looks kind of technical. It's kind of interesting in a way that to watch the animals this way because they don't know about you because you're in the dark. So yeah, this is interesting, but. As far as I know, there are multiple modes of visualization. Miro, maybe you can actually show these, or are you trailing right now?
Yeah, in a way, I am. Well,
Sure.
let's see how it ends up. Yeah, you can switch the visual mode whichever you like the best, I think. Uh, uh, well, currently we do have 3 on
Mhm.
our first clip-on. So, well, for me this purple one works the best, but as Anton said, who am I to judge? Who am I to guide anyone else? So we also added uh, uh, different visual modes for the clip-on based on the real clip-ons. So I think they are a bit of customizable for everyone
Mhm.
to find
Yeah.
whichever
So everyone
whichever they
finds their
like the
yeah
best.
their,
Yeah.
their preference. Yeah.
So I'll use my purple one now.
Do it. Sure. That's your preference, Miro.
Purple rain.
I kind of have like I want to stay quiet because like you're doing it in the night.
No worries, they can't hear you, so you can
Okay,
freely
sure.
speak.
I'm really intense, at this one. Shoot already. Sorry, I'm just I'm creating the pressure, but I'm also looking into a chat. I love that there are different people from around the world in the chat. So I'm trying to look at the look at the questions that we are able to answer. Because like there are many different types of questions that we can actually receive. There are questions that we can answer. Then there are questions with which we are not able to answer because we don't know, and then there are questions which we are literally prohibited to answer because they are either regarding the next future updates that there will be surprises or something like that. So I will definitely not be answering every question, but I do see and I missed it now because it actually moved. There has been a question if oh yeah, regarding the progress, if it's going to be saved once the game is out of early access into 1.0. Yeah, I mean our plan is of course to to do it in a way that your save games could be transferable into the 1.0 game. But since this is this is an early access, anything could happen. So there are like substantial changes being pushed into the game almost every week. So regarding the save files and the progress, we are definitely going to be focusing on transferring it. But yeah, anything can happen in a early access. It's kind of it's a dynamic development.
Also, the new poses.
Oh yeah, so we jumped into the photo mode.
Yeah, I got the deer finally.
Okay, good.
And one of the things we added are some new features for the photo mode. So I think we can check it out as well.
Nice.
Let's look at the doggo and see how we can.
So the new poses have been introduced for a player and for a dog as well. For the animals too?
Not sure exactly. I think definitely for the dog because there are some adorable ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I'm not sure about the animals. I would have to check. Fortunately, because also like the nature of the development is that the things that come out and the things that we play often are not like we are playing future versions of the game that already have some stuff that is not yet to be revealed. So sometimes we have to be very like, confident in what we say is already out and what we can talk about and what we have already revealed. So let's play it on the safe side, just to see what we
Yeah.
can do with this
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's true. Like, for example, when we were doing introducing the roadmap, we are always, able to really commit to maybe like 2 months in advance regarding like what is going to be introduced in the update, and it's because of things that we do have a list of things that we want to add and introduce in the early access phase. But they are at the different stages of creation and development. So sometimes something gets finished quite early. Then we can actually introduce it earlier. Then also some things are maybe just a surprise. So we are going to be trying to time the introducement to the players as much as we can, and the others are actually like some of the fixes actually. We have to find the balance between production of the new features and the fixing of the old stuff. So, I mean, this update was actually pretty. There has been a lot of fixes and patches introduced, but maybe in the future there will be less. So it really depends. I mean, the amount of feedback that we actually received from you after the early access release, it has been tremendous. We are listening to and reading everything that you are sending us. This is also maybe a time and a place to tell you that you should definitely leave us a feedback, join our Discord, or maybe join the Steam community forums where we are actually collecting this feedback. And also there has been this like event or thing that we did a couple of weeks ago. It was called focused feedback, which are like a focused feedback for a specific period of time. We focused on the trophies and turkey hunting before. We already closed these focused feedbacks, and we are actually having a conversation with the game designers and the production regarding addressing some of the issues from there. And then we are going, after addressing this issue and giving you basically the results of the feedback. Then we are definitely going to be focusing on other topics regarding this. So yeah, it's a really complicated process, especially in the early access when everything is work in progress and not done. Some of the things are more done than the others, and so it's really hard to find a balance. But sorry, Miro, I was talking too much. So the photo has been there, but it's probably up for the players to experience the photo mode. It's really it's a favorite mechanic of players.
We try to make it much more customizable
Mhm.
than in the first game because we've seen a lot of content from the players. So we've been like, okay, let's go for it. As Anton mentioned, we added poses for dog, we added poses for the player and for the animals as well, for the hunted animal.
Yeah.
So there's much more to do in the photo mode now than it was before.
Good. So what do we have next? Are we going to be showing the suppressors?
Yeah, okay. I'll take the gun with the suppressor, but let's move on to infrastructure maybe.
Okay.
Let's see some new features. Maybe fun. Might be fun for players.
Let's do it. So let's look at the infrastructure improvements, and they are not only cosmetical improvements in the map, but they do influence the gameplay, right, Anton?
They do, and this is the beauty of it. First, let me just talk a bit about why is it in the game, and the main reason and the main shift. Well, not the main shift, but one of the main shifts we want to make in the first game is to transfer your experience from this initial idea that you are sort of a tourist on a safari in all those hunting reserves that you visit. You are now going to be a landowner, which is a much bigger deal. So you're not just taking things, you're not just a taker. Well, to be precise, in the first, like, you are more of an undertaker, I would say. But yeah, you are also going to be giving to your land and receiving back. What does it mean? Essentially, in the first game, it was enough to simply manage your herds properly, uh, culling by shooting the ones that are on lower fitness and eventually improve the genetics of your herds. Now, with the second game, the system did undergo some of the changes that we can also cover a bit later, or maybe you will have questions about it. But most importantly, you can no longer expect every single herd to be at its maximum full potential as you start the game. You will need to work for it. So you will have to earn money first. You will have to deal with this pollution that will be present in certain lands. You will need to build those habitat enhancements. So far, it is mostly feeders and guzzlers, those water reservoirs. And this is how you are going to be gradually unlocking the fitness potential for those animals. But now, for example, what Miro is currently playing is just for your navigation around the map. So you've seen all those broken bridges. You may have wondered what is going on here. Why why am I in this place where everything is broken? So many broken bridges. What's up with that? Well, first consider this, because in the game, if you already played a bit of the story, you know that you work for this company called Earth and Hunt, and you are a lowly drone basically because you've just been assigned and like so you are assigned to a relatively poorly organized location where there isn't much going on. So they send poor people like Mikhail there to deal with what's going on. And essentially, yes, it is initially a pretty poor place to start, but as you build it, as you add more infrastructure to this reserve, it will shine and you will eventually have better wildlife, especially in those so-called private lands that are located on the outskirts of the map, because these are the ones where you can actually unlock the full potential and have those beautiful 5-star wrecks unlocked.
And what kinds of infrastructures, or like what kinds of stuff you can actually improve and repair on a map?
Yeah, so as Miro have shown already, though those are bridges. There are also some boulders or fallen trees that he may clear out. Then there are hunting stands. Some are already in place, some you can build. And those are basically for your navigation and easier hunting. But when it comes to improving the herds and improving their fitness potential, this first, like ideally, you deal with pollution. And we have two instances of pollution in this first reserve, New Laurentia. We have one polluted lake, and we have invasive plant species and or in the north on like in those thunderbird muskeg locations, where essentially what is happening is that those plants animals feed on them, and since they are invasive, they were brought from elsewhere. It actively damages the whole ecosystem because everything is connected, and once you have deer that feeds on something that they are not supposed to be feeding on, it translates to the whole system. This is how it works. And so what you do is you gradually build up, you get rid of it, and everything becomes smooth, clean, and you can finally manage those herds and reach their full potential.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the improvements doesn't only help you on the map, like through navigating yourself, either through bridges or building the hunting stands, but it also influences the ecosystem itself.
Yes, it does.
And
And we can also later show to you how exactly it looks on the map, because we have for each herd, we have this, like, we call it the fitness population status, which those awards like vulnerable, stable, healthy. And now, thanks to this introduction of the infrastructure system, you will also be able to reach thriving herds. And with thriving herds, you will have a very high probability of getting those animals with the best possible trophies, which for many players is the end game goal.
mhm. I'm also looking into a chat. I see that actually Miriam, which was mentioned in the beginning of the stream, she's actually also answering some of your questions and trying to navigate you or direct you to places if you have any problems or links where you should report your problems, definitely. But we do have like a couple of questions. I can actually ask them and maybe try to answer them, or Anton, you can actually help me. Um, there has been a question regarding. I have to find it. I have to find some kind of thing. I have to write it down because like the chat is pretty long. Um, I mean, yeah, this is the newest. What is the release date for console? I think it really depends on how the development will work, but currently we have a plan to be in an early access stage for 6 months. So after this early access stage, we will be releasing into 1.0 on PC and on the consoles as well. Um,
So later this year.
later this year, yeah. But we actually committed to 6 months. I mean, that's a plan, like we really wanted to give the players, some kind of a guarantee that we won't be in early access for years and years, because this is, sometimes also a case with the games that they are stuck in early access for a really long time. So this is not the case here. So yeah, so hopefully later this year. Um, there has been a question. Oh yeah, this one. Can you engage and disengage the thermal clip-on if you can actually use it on maybe on the different scopes, or we'll be answering it. Anton, you know? Oh no.
Oh, this is a good one because again, as I mentioned, sometimes we like have stuff work in progress, but I believe we actually don't have it in the current implementation
Mhm.
what we are releasing. Miro, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's it. And right now.
Currently, you can disengage it and put it on your weapon only when your storage is available, which is in cabins and the main lodge and from a trunk of a car. But of course you can put the one you bought down and put it on another weapon.
Mhm.
So you can use the same on multiple weapons. Of course, you don't have to buy one clip-on for every weapon you own.
It's just pockets full of clip-ons. Uh, there has also been a question regarding, does the night have an effect on the way animals spot you?
Good one. I'm not in charge of designing animal senses for the second game, but I believe so far, at least, the answer is no. Hopefully, hopefully it is so, but I believe, at least in the first game, definitely, I don't think there was an influence, and I don't think we changed it for the second game. But I will have to check, and like in case I'm wrong, I will probably I will probably be corrected later on in some sort of communication.
Mhm.
Well, I can elaborate a bit about
Sure.
those frozen animals because this is something that I've worked on. Essentially, like, why does it happen? Because if you are really into bugs from Wave the Hunter, you may also remember a similar bug from the first game, sometimes appearing in certain maps. And the reason for it is that the animal, like the way animals work in the game, essentially they need to know how to move around. And we achieve it by using navigational mesh a sort of a map, road map for animals to move around. And also because like the way animals navigate around the map is essentially going from one location to another and following their daily routine. What happens sometimes is that we have those uh, transitions between those spots that animals regularly visit. They are generated separately from the way those animals are placed. And sometimes this generation doesn't occur in time. And what happens is that animals really just lose their way in the map and they only have um, they are stuck in this one point. They don't know where to go. They're essentially lost. So that's what happened. And essentially, we need to update it every time we make some changes to where animals are. So it's unfortunate, but we found a way to fix it and make sure it no longer, hopefully, appears in the builds that you are actually playing from months to month. So this is it. And also, like to elaborate on about animals moving and being stuck, it is always a compromise between where animals live in real life versus where it is easier for them to move. Because let's say, for example, we want to work on white-tailed ptarmigans, and those small birds prefer really, really like rocky places. But for the way like navigational mesh is generated in Unreal Engine 5, those places are not good for any kind of animal, be it a bird, small game, big game, doesn't matter. And there are issues with that, so lots of boulders, so it's really, really complicated to move around for the animal AI. And so we have to make this compromise. Like we want them to put where they are in real life, but we also want them to actually move around properly. And we don't want you to see them being like clipped all the time. So this is what happens with it. So sometimes we go too far and push the engine too far, and this is an unfortunate consequence that you see all these clippings and weird movements going on. But coming back to the stream, Miro has arrived to Lake Sasquatch, where he can finally deal with the polluted lake. And the deal with the pollution in this game is that it affects everything in the ecosystem. And as you can see, there are 7 species affected by it. And to resolve it, you need to pay a hefty sum of money. But as I already mentioned,
I just wanted to showcase this daship. It's a good example, I think, because here on the map you can see all the animal groups you discovered, and you can see uh, their fitness potential of the group now displayed as vulnerable for this specific daship group, which means I would say only low fitness daship would be available for players to hunt in this land, and the pollution, clearing the pollution is the biggest way how to push the fitness potential, how to allow players to have better animals on the map and at the end. So basically, here we can see vulnerable animals means what 10, 20, 30, 40% fitness. It's the top fitness for this dull sheep, but we can enhance the length in a way that we will increase the cap. So in the future, it is possible that much healthier and better animals will spawn. So once I clear this polluted lake, it should just go up, and you can see it on a map right at that moment.
yeah, because the initial issue here is that no matter how much you herd manage, if you don't deal with pollution, if you don't build enhancements, you will never move those herds beyond certain level. You will never have those Delship that have the best possible trophies. So what I encourage you to do is to first earn money, manage those herds from the public land located closer to the center of the map. And once you have enough money, you invest them in those infrastructure objects. And those infrastructure objects unlock this full potential, and now you can actually herd manage those herds from the private lands. And like the reason it is made this way is essentially in those private lands, those herds have the best possible potential conditions. So yes, initially it is all in very bad shape, but later on, once you deal with pollution, once you build more of those feeders and guzzlers, you unlock all this potential, and you can have thriving herds that often produce spectacular animals. So this
Mhm.
is something for you to look forward to, but of course it is um, mostly for long-term players who want to really invest in the game. If you are more of a casual player, you can just have fun in those public lands because lots of herds there are very reasonable, and you can even get better trophies, but just less consistently than in those properly herd managed private lands.
Yeah. Also, as I'm looking at the time, guys, we are closely going towards the end, actually. So I don't know, have we shown the suppressors already, or not yet, like in a detail?
I'm not sure,
So maybe
but
Miro
we at
can
least haven't mentioned them properly. So
yeah, mention. Let's go for the suppressors. By the end of the stream, and also we should probably when I was actually mentioning Miriam, she's not only covering our backs upstairs in the office or in the chat, but also she's in my phone, and she's actually she sent me a message that the clip on actually could be turned off in the radio menu with the F key.
good.
So this is really important information when we were saying about the disengagement of the clip on. And I can actually look into the chat as well. There has been a question regarding the character customization. This is always this is being asked quite often. There's definitely some kind of there's definitely a plan to do the character customization, but as everything in the early access, it really depends if we are going to be able to do it still in the early access phase or post launch. So you should definitely keep an eye on our roadmap where we will be informing you regarding our future updates. Yes, a couple of people have been asking about if this is Unreal Engine 5. Yes, the first game has been made in Unreal Engine 4, so this is Unreal Engine 5. It's a step up, also from the graphical fidelity as well as it gives us an opportunity to implement the features that have been not feasible in the first game. There are also questions regarding sounds and maybe the levels of sounds in game and in menu and stuff. So this is also being tweaked as we go based on your feedback and based on the testing that also Miro does or his colleagues doing. So yeah, I mean everything is being tweaked, everything is being addressed as the game is being developed. So it really depends. So Miro, what about the silencers, the suppressors? Are we going, or are you still fixing the the map?
While you were talking, I already showcased them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so Anton, you can actually talk about the suppressors, maybe a little more. Do they, like they are suppressing the sound, of course, but are they influencing any kind of any other mechanic in the game?
They are suppressing more than sound. They are suppressing sway and recoil,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of important for aiming and for shooting. So I would say that um, for this game in particular, sometimes you want to be able to be really, really efficient, specifically when, let's say, you are managing herds and you know that there are two herds nearby that we want to shoot some animals from, and it just so happens that you don't want to shoot one animal, spook all the others, and have to go back next day. If you do it very efficiently and properly and make sure that there is enough distance, you can probably just shoot twice and have a good run at that. So for those of you who want more efficient gameplay, this is an option. Of course, like we also recognize some of the feedback that we received that for people saying that suppressors are banned in certain countries. It is true. However, this is a video game, and if you don't want to use suppressors, you don't have to. This is the beautiful option in this game, but for those people who want to use them, now you have this option. And also, one interesting point is that the sound they produce, because I have a feeling that, like, based on our common experience of playing video games and used suppressors, we often have those like, or like watching movies with, I don't know, like James Bond movies, let's say. We have this very specific idea of how they sound, like how shots sound. But those are movie sounds. This is like the way production communicates to viewers or players, uh, like a certain idea of how it is supposed to sound. But we, as we are an authentic game, we always aim to have as much authenticity as possible. And in this case, the way sound works for them is actually proper, I believe. So at least that's what I was told. So this is how it is. Yeah. We are not only authentic when it comes to hunting animals, but, well, partially at least, because we have to make some compromises, of course, to still make it a fun game, but also in the way that weapons work, and especially thanks to our collaborations with firearm manufacturers and attachment producers.
Okay, guys. So I'm thinking I'm looking into the comments. There's a lot of questions. Some of them we are not able to answer them, of course. We just really want to keep surprises in the future. But there's a question regarding the fur variety and horn and trophy variety. I would maybe shout out the last dev diary that we made. It was actually released last week with Stano, our gameplay engineer, who's actually responsible for trophy generation system, where he's actually talking, I think, pretty in depth and in detail about the trophy generation itself. So you know, it's a every trophy is basically generated based on a DNA. It's got this kind of a system that we use for generating the horns and antlers, and this is also a system that is going to be tweaked and improved for the whole duration of the early access, when the variety of antlers and maybe the furs in the future as well will be added. So this is definitely a place for improvement for us as well.
Well, it is something that we are always working on. So for more variety, better trophies,
Yeah.
rare furs, the more the better.
Okay, good. So, guys, we are already streaming for 50 minutes almost. So, is there anything else that we want to show people, or maybe give some kind of a context or deeper understanding? I think we went through the suppressors, we went through the thermals, the infrastructure improvements, some of the additions to the photo mode. We haven't seen any large herds being stuck at one place, so that's that's quite a pro as well. Is there anything else that we want to cover on the stream? Maybe Anton.
Well, let's say one of the things that it is a small thing, but it is important because currently I believe the way hunting small game animals and birds in the game, it is certainly lacking in some respects. So, for example, in this new version, you can expect improved behaviors from snowshoe hares, but it is something that we will be consistently working on going forward. And we have received some feedback on poor animal distribution, and partially it has to do with this frozen animal bug, but there are also some other ongoing issues that I've been like personally working right before the stream. So hopefully we'll have more good news for you next month.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is as we've said in the beginning, like this is the first major update. So there will be, next updates. We really want to find the balance between adding the new stuff into the game, because at the same time we want to give you more stuff to experience. We want to give you more to play, but at the same time we want to find the balance between fixing the old stuff. So I mean, we do have plenty of ideas, plenty of features that needs to be finished and implemented and tested, and then we actually can add them into a game. So I mean, this is a process. The early access, it's hard. It's the same. I mean, it's really hard, and it's really challenging for us to keep up the pace. But hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will be going according to plan, and hopefully, and we also need you, the players, to give us the feedback, what you like, what you don't like, what would you like to see added, what do you want to see tweaked, maybe. So this is always, it's a process, it's a loop, or like it's a relationship that we have with the players. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I'm looking at the comments and also and the messages that are coming up. I think it's really it's been going well so far with an update. We'll see in the morning once the US players wake up fully and get into a game. So yeah, guys. Do we have anything else that we want to add, Miro? Maybe. How did you like this stream? You're already veteran at this stage, since we already did it too. Whatever that means.
If 2 streams counts, then yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think we have showcased all major new features. So let's players discover on their own.
Yes, I mean the update. You can actually play it right now. Of course, the game is available if you haven't already, opted into early access, bought the game. You can actually go to Steam. You can buy the game there. This is the first update. It has been up since like 3 or 2 hours ago. So you can actually be sure to update your game before playing today. So yeah, thank you to all of the players who are playing the game, who are enjoying the game, who are even leaving negative feedback, because it helps us. Be sure to follow us on all of the socials. Be sure to check out the Steam Community Hub. Be sure to go to our Discord. Be sure to follow this YouTube page, because we are definitely going to be streaming in the future as well. We are planning to stream, with every major update. To give you the freshest info and maybe some small leaks even, since we are not that experienced of the streamers over here, so leak here and there may occur.
Subtle hints of what is to come.
Yeah, that's much, it's beautifully said. So yeah, so more streams in the future, more dev diaries in the future, more updates in the future. See you on Discord, see you on socials, and happy hunting, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and thank you guys for being here with me today. And yeah,
Thank you for hosting it, and thank you for everybody watching and playing. Enjoy the game.
Great, last words, and then I'm going to turn it off.
Thank you and have fun.